You know that feeling, the one where you walk into your home after a long day and instead of feeling relief, you feel a subtle weight, a visual noise of jackets draped over chairs, mail piled on the counter, and that one corner where things just seem to multiply. It's not a disaster, but it's never truly peaceful. The average American home contains over 300,000 items, and we feel the weight of every single one. But in Japan, where living spaces are famously smaller and families are just as busy, homes have a reputation for being immaculate sanctuaries. And it's not because they have more free time. In fact, Japanese people work some of the longest hours in the developed world. The difference is not time, it's a blueprint. A set of ingrained, almost invisible daily rituals that prevent chaos before it has a chance to start. These habits aren't about a massive spring cleaning weekend that exhausts you. They are deceptively simple. Some will shock you with how little effort they take, and others are so genius you'll wonder why you haven't been doing them your entire life. I spent months observing my friend Akiko in her Tokyo apartment. A space so small it could fit inside my American living room. Yet it felt twice as large and 10 times as calm. What I learned rewired my brain. Today, we're counting down 25 of these quiet, powerful habits, from the obvious to the absolutely sacred, that can permanently transform your home from a source of stress into a battery that recharges you. Number 25, they treat the entrance like a sacred barrier. We start our countdown where every day begins, at the front door. In a Western home, the entryway is often a suggestion, a place where you might wipe your feet vigorously on a mat, but still, the outside world clings to you. In the Japanese genkan, the entryway is a physical and spiritual line. It's typically a sunken floor, a literal step down into the house. This design genius isn't just aesthetic. It makes it physically impossible to enter the clean living space with outdoor shoes. The dirt, the grime, the energetic residue of the public sidewalk, it all stops right there, contained in a small, tiled pit. It's not magic. It's physics. By physically removing your shoes and stepping up into the clean zone, you perform a ritual of separation. The habit isn't just taking shoes off. It's the immediate, respectful placement of them. You don't just kick them off haphazardly. You turn around, kneel briefly, and point them towards the door, ready for your next departure. This tiny act of care sets an immediate precedent. It announces to your brain, the chaos of the world is left behind. I am now in a space of order, try it tomorrow. Don't just enter your home, cross the threshold with intention, and observe how that 1 minute of deliberate action quiets the entire entryway. Number 24. They don't let a single piece of mail linger. We walk into our homes and instinctively dump. The keys hit the counter. The mail lands on the dining table. The receipts spill from our pockets onto a chair. This is the genesis of clutter. The Japanese habit is a zero-tolerance policy, executed through a designated station, not a dumping ground. In Akiko's home, a small tray on a console table was a processing center, not a storage unit. The moment mail arrived, it was opened and immediately sorted into one of 3 categories: action, file, or recycle. The key here is the word immediately. There is no "I'll deal with this later" pile. A later pile is a lie we tell ourselves. It's a monument to delayed decisions that weighs on your subconscious every time you walk past it. The action items, like a bill to pay, went into a slim, attractive folder. The items to file went straight into the filing cabinet. The rest, the junk mail, the empty envelopes, hit the recycling bin before they could even think about forming a pile. This whole process takes 60 seconds. It prevents the visual noise of paper from ever taking root. You're not organizing a mess. You're preventing a mess from being born. Number 23, they practice the art of instant restoration. Have you ever looked at a messy room and felt so overwhelmed you just closed the door? We often wait until a surface is completely cluttered, a sink is totally full, or a room is a disaster to finally act. By then, cleaning is a monumental, 2-hour ordeal, a punishment for our procrastination. This brings us to a foundational Japanese concept. The art is not cleaning, it's resetting. The habit is this. When you finish using an object, you don't set it down. You restore it to its home. You finish reading the book. It goes back on the shelf, not on the arm of the sofa. You finish your coffee. The mug goes into the dishwasher, not into the sink to soak for 3 days. You take off your coat. It goes straight onto a hanger in the closet. This isn't a chore. It's the final step of the task itself. Drinking coffee does not end with the last sip. It ends when the mug is clean or put away. The genius here is that you never create clutter debt. You don't borrow a clean house against a future Saturday you'll spend scrubbing. You maintain a zero balance every single moment. It shifts your identity from someone who has to clean up a big mess to someone who simply lives tidily. The seconds it takes to put a pair of scissors back in the drawer are nothing compared to the hours of mental. A quick word before I go on. What I show you here grows out of the old ways the people of my country kept, where nothing was ever wasted. My family gathered the heart of it into the Home Savings Almanac, 12 small books on the old ways of the home. The kitchen and the pantry, the garden, keeping the house clean and warm. The small repairs, and 400 simple ways to waste nothing and save $200 to $400 a month. You will find it linked in the description and the first pinned comment, or you can simply scan the QR code on your screen. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. Piece you buy. Number 22. They give everything a home using the art of storage. You can't put something back if you haven't decided where it lives. This is where so many of our good intentions die. We bring an item into our home, a new gadget, a gift, a piece of decor, and we never assign it a permanent address. It becomes a nomad, drifting from the kitchen counter to the dining table to the top of the dresser, a vagabond of visual unrest. The Japanese principle is a simple ultimatum. Every single object you own must have a designated, logical home. This is a non-negotiable. If it doesn't have a home, you either must create one, or you must realize you don't truly need the item. This forces an incredible honesty about your possessions. A remote control lives on a small lacquered tray on the coffee table, and nowhere else. The keys hang on a single, specific hook by the door. Pens, scissors, and tape are not in a junk drawer of chaos. They are separated into a desktop organizer with clear compartments. This is the act of becoming a librarian for your own life. The reward is profoundly calming. When it's time to tidy, there is zero decision fatigue. Your brain doesn't have to play a desperate game of where does this go? The decision was already made, the home is already assigned. You simply act, and the surface is clear again in seconds. Number 21. They oil the hinges, the subtle art of maintenance. This is about the sound of your home. Close your eyes and listen to your house right now. Do you hear the aggravated creak of a kitchen cabinet? The grating slide of a sticky dresser drawer? The high-pitched squeak of a bathroom door? We tend to normalize these sounds of friction as just how the house is. In Japan, these sounds are considered a subtle form of stress, a constant, low-level aggression that grates on the mind. There is a cultural habit of lubricating the mechanics of a home. An elderly neighbor of Akiko, a man in his 70s named Kenji, once told me he oils his door hinges and drawer rails every new year. He said a silent home is a polite home. I thought he was eccentric until I tried it. I bought a small bottle of household oil and spent a single Sunday afternoon creeping through my house like a ghost, silencing every mechanism. The transformation was almost emotional. I closed the linen closet and it whispered shut. The cutlery drawer glided like it was on ice. It wasn't a cleaning habit, it was a friction elimination habit. The house suddenly felt more luxurious, more intentional, and undeniably more peaceful. You can do this today. Walk around your house and touch every moving part, and fix the ones that fight you. The silence is a gift. Number 20, they practice a 1-minute morning reset in the bedroom. In the West, the morning routine often resembles a frantic, chaotic scramble. We rip through our closets, leave a trail of rejected outfits on the bed, unmade sheets lying in a tangled heap, and race out the door. The bedroom, the first thing you see when you open your eyes, becomes the day's first source of visual noise. The Japanese habit is a simple, disciplined ritual that frames the start of the day with a victory. You do not leave the bedroom in a state of panic. Before you walk out, you open a window, even just a crack to let the stale, humid air of sleep escape. Then you make the bed. Not a military, hospital corner event, but a smoothing, a pulling of the duvet, a placement of the pillows that signals the rest period is over and the active day has begun. Any clothes you tried on and discarded are immediately placed back on their hangers or in the hamper. The surface of the dresser is checked for stray objects. This entire process takes about 60 seconds. It is a declaration. You are setting the first domino of a tidy day. You are telling yourself, I am a person who controls their environment, not one who is controlled by it. Walk out and don't look back. You will return that evening to a room that says, welcome back, rest here. Not clean me up. Number 19, they clean one small zone to absolute zero. One of the biggest reasons we fail to keep a clean home is the tyranny of the whole house view. We look at the entire living room, the entire kitchen, and it's too much. Our willpower evaporates because the scale is too vast. The Japanese counterintuitive strategy is to shrink your focus radically. Don't try to clean the kitchen. Clean only the counter to the left of the stove. Don't think about the bathroom. Think only about the sink and the faucet. This is not a deep clean, it is a 0-point reset. You take 5 focused minutes, and you clear that one tiny area completely. You remove every single item, you wipe it down until it's pristine, and you only put back what absolutely belongs there. What you've created is a beacon. When that one small corner is impossibly perfect, the dirty coffee maker next to it suddenly looks completely out of place. It creates a psychological tension, a good kind of peer pressure. That makes you want to bring the rest of the counter up to that standard. It's a cleaning domino effect that starts not with a huge, exhausting push, but with one tiny, flawless square. Tonight, pick your bathroom sink. Remove the soap, the toothbrushes, the haphazard products. Scrub it until it sparkles, then step back. That little victory will give you more momentum than any cluttered room can take away. Number 18. They weave mini-clean tasks onto existing habits. Willpower is a finite resource. If you rely on a summit of motivation to clean your house, you will almost always fail. The Japanese principle is to bypass motivation entirely by using a psychological trick called habit stacking. You take a new, tiny cleaning task, and you glue it to a habit you already do on autopilot. You brush your teeth every morning, that's the anchor. Now, while you're brushing, you use your free hand to wipe down the bathroom counter, or the mirror with a small cloth you keep there. You don't think about it, it just happens. You're waiting for your morning coffee to brew. That's a 2-minute window of dead time, where you'd normally just scroll on your phone. Instead, you unload the top rack of the dishwasher, or clean one shelf of the refrigerator door. The rule is the task must be so small it's borderline laughable, completed in the exact time your anchor habit takes. In Japanese households, these micro-cleaning habits aren't seen as extra chores. They're just part of the ritual of living. After you shower, you use a squeegee on the glass door for 20 seconds. It's not deep cleaning day, it's just Tuesday. but by attaching these tiny actions to the bones of your existing routine. By the end of the week, a massive amount of maintenance has been completed, and you didn't feel a single ounce of extra effort. Number 17, they perform Kanki, the airing out ceremony. We often treat our homes like sealed boxes, especially in the extremes of winter and summer, blasting the heat or the AC, recycling the same stale, dusty air. This is a shock to a Japanese sensibility. One of the most non-negotiable daily rituals is Kanki, which translates to vigorous ventilation. No matter the weather, even on a freezing January morning, it's customary to throw open the windows and doors of a home. I remember standing in Akiko's apartment, shivering, as she opened every window, creating a blustery wind tunnel that lifted papers off the desk. I asked if she was crazy. She laughed and explained that still, stagnant air is the enemy of a clean home. It allows moisture to settle on walls and inside closets, feeding mold and dust mites. It allows floating dust particles to just hang suspended in the room, waiting to settle back down on your carefully wiped surfaces. The vigorous cross breeze physically pushes this stale, heavy, dust-laden air out. It dries out the hidden corners, freshens the fabrics, and changes the entire atmospheric energy of a room from heavy and sleepy to sharp and alive. You don't need to do it for long. 10 minutes is enough to completely change the air volume of a house. Do it while you make your bed or set up your coffee. The house won't have time to get cold, but it will have time to feel new. Number 16, they dry the family bathwater outside. This habit might sound alien, even faintly medieval to a Western ear. But it's a genius display of humidity control that preserves a home. In Japan, the bathtub is not for washing, it's for soaking in already perfectly clean water. Because the water isn't soapy or dirty, it becomes a precious resource. The habit is this: after the entire family has had their soak, the bathwater isn't just pulled down the drain. It is often repurposed to do laundry. How the water is handled next is the critical part for the cleanliness of the home. That water, full of warmth and moisture, if simply left in a tub in a sealed bathroom, would create a tropical storm of humidity that peels wallpaper and breeds black mold in the grout. Instead, they use a small, portable laundry or drain pump connected to a hose, often led outside or directly into the washing machine. The point is, the water leaves the home immediately or is contained in a machine. They don't let a single drop of unnecessary humidity linger in the fabric of the building. You can apply this principle today without a special pump. Every time you shower or cook a pot of pasta, that steam wants to settle somewhere. Run the ventilation fan immediately, or do as I now do. After a hot shower, I open the bathroom window and close the door, creating a chimney effect that pulls all that destructive moisture straight out into the atmosphere, leaving my walls bone-dry and mold-free. Number 15, they hang futons and bedding in the sun. I thought Akiko was joking the first time I saw her entire neighborhood engaging in what I called the bed airing. Over balcony railings, a sea of white, fluffy futon mattresses and duvets, draped like flags in the bright sun. This is futon hoshi, and it's a ritualistic habit of purification. In the West, we seal our mattresses under sheets, trapping months and years of shed skin cells, sweat and body humidity, creating a thriving ecosystem for microscopic life. We don't see it, so we pretend it doesn't exist. The Japanese habit confronts it directly. At least once a month, on a clear, low-humidity day, they carry the entire futon or heavy blankets outside and drape them under direct UV light. The sun isn't just a metaphor here, it's a lethal cleaning agent. The ultraviolet radiation is a natural, powerful bactericide that kills mold spores and dust mites. The fresh air drives out the deep moisture that makes a futon feel damp and heavy. It is a complete biological reset, for the place you spend a third of your life. When you pull that sun-baked, crispy futon back inside at sunset, the smell is intoxicating. It's not a chemical floral scent, but a clean, warm, sun-soaked dryness that promises the deepest sleep. Even if you have a thick Western mattress you can't move, the lesson holds. Strip your bedding on a sunny day and hang it outside. Let your pillows bake. That clean, dry warmth is a luxury no spray bottle can replicate. Number 14, they practice daily floor sweeping, the calming ritual. In the West, we famously use the vacuum as a weapon, a loud, roaring machine we push in a rush once a week to wage war on visible crumbs. In between those wars, the dust accumulates silently. The Japanese daily habit is a quiet, peaceful negotiation with the floor, not a battle. They use a short-handled, soft-bristled broom, not a tall push broom, which forces you to move slowly, to bend slightly, to pay attention to the edges and corners. This isn't an aggressive deep clean, it's a gentle gathering. It takes 3 or 4 minutes. The philosophy is to remove the dust and hair of the day before it has a chance to be tracked across the house or form into tumbleweeds under the sofa. It's a moving meditation. The soft sound of the bristles is a white noise that quiets the brain. By doing it daily, the floor is never truly dirty. The deep, heavy vacuuming becomes almost unnecessary, or you do it once a month instead of once a week. This habit completely flips the script. You are no longer cleaning a messy floor. You are simply maintaining a clean one. It's a visit to a shrine, not a trip to a landfill. I bought one, a beautiful bamboo thing, and the act of sweeping my small kitchen floor every evening while listening to a podcast has become the most therapeutic moment of my day. Number 13, they clean the toilet as an act of mindfulness, not disgust. Let's be honest, in most Western households, the toilet is the punishment chore. We ignore it until it's visibly shameful, then we put on rubber gloves, spray harsh chemicals, and attack it with a sense of seething resentment. It's a foul task we want to escape as quickly as possible. In Japan, the approach is a complete philosophical inversion. The toilet is often in its own small, separate room. A slipper is worn just inside that door, which already makes it a distinct space. The habit is a daily, 20-second wipe down, immediately after you finish your business. A small cloth and a gentle cleaner are kept right there, invisibly stored, while your hands are still near the sink. You take a single disinfecting wipe or a spray and a piece of paper, and you quickly wipe the seat, the rim, and the flush button. The logic is immaculate. Human waste is never given the chance to dry, harden, or build up into a crust that requires a power drill to remove. You are cleaning a surface that is 99% clean already, rendering the deep toilet scrub of shame entirely obsolete. If you do this, you will live in a home where the toilet is perpetually guest-ready. It transforms the room from a biohazard zone into a space you can take quiet pride in. It only takes the time you would spend on a second hand wash. Number 12, they respect a strict kitchen closing ceremony. If your kitchen is the heart of your home, for many of us, it dies a slow, messy death every night. We cook, we eat, and then a magnetic force pulls us to the sofa. The pans are left to soak, grease spatter cools on the stovetop, and the counter looks like a disaster zone. We promise to tackle it tomorrow, and we wake up to a visual slap in the face. The Japanese habit, known as shimekomi, is a non-negotiable kitchen closing ritual. The restaurant does not close until the kitchen is spotless. Before you allow yourself to sit down and truly relax, the kitchen must be brought back to zero. This doesn't mean a deep clean. It means dishes are washed or loaded. Counters are wiped down with a mild cleanser until they gleam. The stove is cleaned of every single splatter, and the sink is rinsed and dried with a cloth, leaving the stainless steel sparkling and free of water spots. The dry sink is the symbol of a closed kitchen. This ritual creates a powerful psychological barrier. When you wake up and walk into a pristine kitchen, your brain doesn't register a load of unfinished work and start the day with dread. The morning coffee tastes infinitely better when you're making it in a space that says peace. Do this tonight. Don't let the dishes witness your sleep. Number 11, they never let a dish sit with food residue. We touched on this with the kitchen closing ceremony, but the principle is so critical, so deeply ingrained, that it deserves its own separate habit. This is the pre-rinse as a lifestyle. In Western culture, we often scrape what we can into the trash and then put a plate still smeared with sauce, with a piece of stuck-on egg, into the sink or the dishwasher. We treat the dishwasher like a magical cauldron that incinerates everything, which it often fails to do, leaving us with gritty plates and clogged filters. The Japanese habit is to wash every dish until it is physically clean of all visible debris before it even enters the main washing up or the drying rack. Using a small amount of water and a dedicated scrubbing brush, you rub down the plate under the running tap until the water runs clear. It is now a clean object that just needs a final sanitization bubble wash, not a dirty object hiding in foam. This completely prevents the kitchen sink from becoming a swamp of floating food particles, which is one of the fastest ways a kitchen attracts drain flies and a sour smell. More importantly, a plate with no food residue is a plate that's practically clean. The final wash is lightning fast. This habit protects your plumbing, keeps your sink smelling fresh, and treats the washing ritual as a two-step process of mechanical removal first, hygiene second. Number 10, they hang washed laundry immediately with a specific technique. The way a society does laundry seems trivial, but it's the difference between a closet that feels like a boutique and one that feels like a rummage sale. In the West, the dryer is king. We throw clothes in, and we often leave them in the dryer basket or worse, in the machine, until they become a wrinkled, stale block. Then we toss them on the chaired robe. The Japanese habit is a meticulous devotion to line drying, even indoors, using a specific technique. Clothes are not just flung over a rack. Shirts are buttoned up, shaken firmly to release the spun-in wrinkles, and hung by their seams to keep their shape. Socks are hung in pairs, not just draped solo. Towels are smoothed flat. The goal is to have an item emerge from the drying rack, ready to be put straight into the drawer, requiring no ironing, no refluffing. This is visual respect for the fabric. Then the moment the item is bone dry, it is immediately taken down. The drying rack is never a permanent installation in the spare room, storing clean clothes indefinitely. The fabric is crisp and sun-kissed or wind-kissed. This habit forces a full cycle of care. You wash, you dry with intention, and you immediately restore it to its home. The chaired robe monster is starved of its food source. Number 9, they fold clothes with the KonMari vertical stacking method. Even though we are not evoking branding here, the method is deeply Japanese and transformative. Our Western method of stacking clothes in horizontal piles is a structural nightmare. You want the t-shirt at the bottom of the pile, so you wiggle it out, and the entire tower collapses into a messy heap. You end up wearing the top 3 shirts over and over again, because you never see the ones at the bottom. The Japanese folding technique is to fold the shirt into a small, flat, rectangular packet that can stand upright on its own. When you open your drawer, you don't see a pile, you see a filing cabinet of fabric. You can see every single t-shirt you own at a single glance. The visual clarity is incredibly calming. There is no rummaging, no destruction of order. Removing one shirt leaves the rest of the drawer perfectly intact, standing at attention. This is the art of respecting the item, but it's also a genius organizational hack. It maximizes drawer space and minimizes the daily aggressive energy of yanking and pushing. I spent a single evening folding my entire t-shirt drawer this way. And 3 months later, it remains the most orderly space in my entire home. It is a daily, quiet victory the moment I pick an outfit. Number 8, they design with empty space, a Japanese aesthetic. We Westerners often view an empty surface, a blank counter, an open corner as a challenge. It's a vacuum that must be filled. We buy decorative trays, vases, and coffee table books to style a space. And before we know it, the house is full of visual noise. A museum of dust-collecting trinkets. The Japanese aesthetic, rooted in spiritual minimalism, is driven by the concept of ma, a reverence for negative space. A bare, clean surface is not an empty space. It is a filled space, filled with potential and peace. The most important decorative element in a Japanese room is often the emptiness itself. This habit is the act of constantly curating. You do not add items until a surface is full. You subtract items until the surface breathes. My friend Akiko's apartment had a beautiful, long wooden shelf, and on it sat exactly one object, a single, rough clay bowl. The empty wood around it wasn't neglected. It was the frame. Adopting this habit means ruthlessly removing filler objects from your counters, your bathroom vanity, your bedroom dresser. It's a constant, gentle process of decluttering the visual field. The result is a home that doesn't just look clean, it looks quiet. And a quiet home creates a quiet mind. You're not just organizing your stuff, you're curating your peace. Number 7, they use doors and panels to hide daily clutter. In the West, we love the idea of open shelving and displaying our lives. We buy beautiful glass jars for our pasta and flour and line them up. It looks great in a magazine photo, but in real life, those jars get greasy dust on them. The labels peel, the pasta level drops and looks messy. The visual noise of our daily calories is constant. The Japanese principle is radically practical. If it can be hidden, it should be hidden. The kitchen is not a display, it's a workshop, and the tools of a workshop are stored neatly behind cabinet doors. They use sleek, sliding panels and opaque cabinets not out of shame, but out of a desire for visual silence. The outside of the house should be an empty, calm canvas. The stuff of life, the soy sauce bottles, the cooking oil, the toaster, the spice rack, all of it lives behind closed doors, pulled out when needed and immediately returned to its hidden home. This transforms the feeling of a kitchen. When you walk in to get a glass of water at midnight, you aren't staring at the silent chaos of a dozen condiment labels. You see a calming, empty counter. I implemented this by doing a brutal audit of my countertops. I put the toaster in a cupboard. I put the knife block in the pantry. The sense of relief was immediate. Try it, hide everything for a week, and see if your kitchen doesn't feel twice as big. Number 6, they practice the nightly reset of common spaces. We all know the morning routine is easier when you prep the night before. But in Japan, a nightly reset extends to the entire living area. The living room is the heart of the home, and it often takes a beating at night. Blankets are left bundled on the couch. Remote controls vanish between cushions. Kids' toys litter the rug. Cups leave water rings on the coffee table. The habit is simple. The last person to go to bed performs a 10-minute closing shift on the living room. The lights are dimmed, but before you switch them off, you do a sweep. All cups and glasses are returned to the kitchen. Remote controls are placed face down on their designated tray. Sofa cushions are plumped and positioned. The throw blankets are folded and draped neatly over the arm. Any stray magazines, books, or devices are removed and put in their homes. The floor is checked for crumbs. This is all done in a very calm, almost meditative state, not a frantic rush. You are tucking your house in for the night. The psychological impact of walking out of your bedroom in the morning into a crisp, orderly living space is a jolt of positive energy. It tells you that you are ready, that you are capable. The day hasn't even started, and you've already been gifted a clean slate. Number 5, they separate the bathing and the toilet room. In the standard Western house, the bathroom is one single, multifunctional room. The toilet sits next to the bathtub, next to the sink. The humidity from the shower, the germs from the toilet, the mess of hair and makeup. They all coexist in a chaotic, damp cocktail. Japanese architecture, where space allows, physically separates these functions. The toilet is in its own tiny, closet-like room, often with just a small hand-washing sink built into the top of the tank. The bathing room is a separate, fully waterproof, wet room. This physical separation is a profound cleaning habit. It means when you clean the toilet, you are in a tiny, focused zone. And the cleaning products and airborne particles stay completely separate from the room where you bathe your children. It means when you steam up the shower, the humidity doesn't settle on a toothbrush that's sitting 10 feet from a toilet bowl. The towel you dry your face with is never in the same room where you just flushed. You may not be able to rebuild your plumbing, but you can adopt the philosophy. Always, always close the toilet lid before flushing to prevent microscopic particles from launching into the air. Keep your toothbrush in a cabinet, or at least as far away from the toilet as possible. Mentally separate the wet, cleaning activities from the dry, hygiene activities. It's a cleanliness firewall. Number 4, they start the day with water before cluttering the body. This is less about tidying a surface and more about tidying the internal home. But it's a ritual that sets a tone of purification. In the West, we stagger out of bed, waging a civil war within our dehydrated bodies, and our first instinct is to reach for a dark, strong coffee. We are slamming a stimulant into a system that hasn't had a drop of pure solvent in 8 hours. In Japan, it's widely customary to drink a glass of room-temperature water first thing in the morning. Not ice water, which can shock the system, but gentle, warm water. The philosophy is that this is an internal cleansing, a washing of the organs, a kickstart of the metabolism before any food or toxin is introduced. I adopted this from watching Akiko's elderly aunt. She would sit by the window, holding her water, sipping slowly, looking out at the garden for 5 solid minutes before she even thought about making tea. It was a quiet, bodily genkan, a washing away of the night's metabolic residue. From an organizational perspective, doing this gives you a 5-minute pause. It forces you to stop. You stand in your quiet, calm kitchen drinking water. You aren't making a mess with the coffee grinder yet. You are allowing the day's first rhythm to be pure and restorative, not a frantic caffeine hunt that leaves a trail of coffee grounds on the counter. Number 3, they practice mindful waste management. No one loves taking out the trash, but the way we treat our garbage is often the smelliest, most chaotic, and most ignored aspect of our home. We overflow the bin, we stuff it down, we let the bag sit to the point of structural failure, leaving a trail of foul liquid in the bottom of the can. The Japanese habit is a highly organized, almost scientific system of sorting. But more than that, it's the act of bundling and cleaning the waste itself. Garbage in Japan is not just thrown loose into a bag. Cartons are washed, folded flat, and tied in neat bundles. Plastic bottles are rinsed, caps removed and sorted separately, and the bottles squashed or placed in specific clear bags. The habit of rinsing containers, especially food containers, before they hit the bin is transformative. It completely removes the odor, the sticky residue that attracts insects, and the general feeling of dirty chaos from your waste disposal area. There is no rotting yogurt smell wafting from under the kitchen sink. The bin area is almost as clean as the rest of the kitchen. You can start this today with one simple step. Rinse everything that goes into your recycling bin. It adds 10 seconds of work to your meal cleanup, but it prevents a week's worth of stench and a monthly cleanout of a sticky bin. Clean trash is the pinnacle of a clean home. Number 2, they show gratitude to the tools that serve them. This is the habit that bridges the gap between a tidy house and a truly harmonious one. I was shocked when I saw Akiko meticulously wiping down her broom after sweeping the floor. She would remove the dust from the bristles, wash the handle, and hang it up, not in a dark closet but in a designated spot. She was taking care of the object that takes care of her. In the Western mindset, we often use a dirty sponge to clean a dish, or a greasy rag to wipe a counter, never realizing we are just spreading the filth. The Japanese habit is a deep, ingrained respect for the tools of domestic labor. The kitchen sponge is rinsed, thoroughly squeezed, and placed in a dry, ventilated spot after each use. The sink strainer is scrubbed, not just emptied. The vacuum filter is cleaned regularly. The mop head is washed and dried in the sun. It's a cycle of respect. This ensures that when you go to clean, your tool is actually sanitary and capable of deep cleaning. A dirty broom just pushes dirt around. A clean sponge actually sanitizes. When you start treating your mops, brooms, and sponges with the same respect you'd give a chef's knife, your home's baseline level of cleanliness jumps dramatically because the equipment is actually doing its intended job. Number 1, they see cleaning not as a chore, but as a spiritual exercise. We've reached the number 1 habit, the foundation upon which every other habit in this countdown is built. In the West, cleaning is a punishment. We've framed it as a miserable, time-stealing necessity we must outsource or endure through gritted teeth. The phrase "clean freak" is almost an insult. We celebrate the slob as more relaxed. In Japan, this is completely inverted, and it was my most profound realization. The act of cleaning, particularly of shared spaces or one's own environment, is viewed as a practice for the mind. In Zen temples, monks spend hours every day sweeping immaculate, stone gardens where not a single leaf has fallen, not to get the garden clean, but to train the mind. It is a form of moving meditation, a purification of the spirit, not just the floor. When you physically scrub a floor, you are metaphorically scrubbing the static and anxiety from your mind. When you organize a cluttered shelf, you are organizing your thoughts. The home is not a separate box you live in. It is an extension of your body and your mental state. When I shifted my perspective from "I have to do the damn dishes" to "I am performing a ritual of restoration," the resistance in my body melted away. The warm water on my hands became a grounding sensation, not a chore. The sweeping became a rhythm of breathing. This is the one habit that makes all the others sustainable. You're not cleaning because you're a failure who let things get messy. You're cleaning because you are honoring the space that holds your life. Try this tonight. Walk into your home, pick one small cleaning act and do it silently, without a podcast, without grumbling. Do it with the reverence of sweeping a temple floor. The peace you feel won't just be from a clean counter, it will be from a clean mind.